In this video, I'd like to discuss the printing offset digital product. We will be going through entering an estimate of the basic offset prints, the offset booklet, and the digital prints, and then we'll discuss some of the basic functionality and defaults of the system. If we're in control within Sirius, under offset printing, printing offset digital, the first thing I want to discuss is the basic offset print products. Those print types would be standard print types like an offset letterhead, offset cover, offset booklet. Pretty straightforward. We'll start with like a letterhead. Say we're doing 10,000 letterheads. Here I have my default set already for offset letterhead to my width and my height. You can change those or overwrite them, the paper type, and then the actual paper itself you're printing on. The colors for both the front and the back side, whether it's a processed color or spot color or both. In this case, we'll say the first side is a processed color, and the second side we're just going to do a black and white stamp. So you'll see we have 4 in 1. You can go in and add in more than 4. You have up to 6 spot colors, and then your 2 additional coatings for UV coatings and other coatings that may be applied by the press. Next we'll go to the press details. The press itself, and this is defaulting based off the print type that we entered. It can be changed. Your ink, how it's going to be printed, either sheet-wise or work and turn or work and tumble. The plates, what type of plate, this will default off the machine. It can default with full material or pre-purchased plates. If it's building out this plate, you can enter the machine that it's being created on, material, and the material type. This also can all default based off the print type if you'd like it to. Here we have the setup as far as the sheets required, job sheets and total sheets, gripper and rail height and width, the maximum height and width of the press itself. Again, selecting a larger press or a different press may change those values. If it's being printed straight to the material stock, as far as you have to cut that material out first, so you're cutting the material pre-pressed, this would show up here, and then your run sheets, which at this time is the same as the press sheets, or the stock sheets. Cutter details, how are we going to cut these out? It's defaulting to the guillotine cutter, how many cuts, and your cut time. The next would be the multiple quantity grid. This allows you to enter in multiple quantities to print on an estimate to give to a client so they can select what they're ordering. So in this case I have 10,000, maybe they want the price difference between 10 and 20,000. If I calculate it, it will show it on this screen. If I show grid on estimate, it will automatically print that on the estimate as well. The next print type I want to discuss, since that's a basic print type, if we enter a new line item, in this case the print type we'll use is offset booklet. In a booklet we have both the finished size and the flat size. So how many booklets are they ordering? The size of the booklet, the size of the flat, meaning what this is going to be printed on as far as the full sheet. In this case we'll say it's going to be a 24 by 36. How many pages per book? Now this page is on a book and also includes the cover, even if the cover is not being digitally printed at this point. If we were, or offset print at this point. If we're going to print the cover within this, it would be a self-cover, meaning that we're printing the cover on the same material with the same machine. In this case, we'll say that there's 36 pages per book as an example. Since we're getting 16 pages, that's 8 front and backs, equals 16 per flat, per 24 by 36. And then the material we're printing it out of, be the 26 by 40 probably in this case. We come to our colors just like the other one. In this case we'll do the front, the inside is all black and white on the booklet, but the cover, since I've selected self cover, it's added additional tabs for the cover, so we'll process print the front of the cover, and the inside of the cover we'll just leave blank. Again, you can add multiple colors, multiple coatings within the pop-up button. Next we'll go to the press details. This is the same as we discussed before, other than now that I have a cover, it is adding in a second imposition for that cover. It's adding in all the sheet values and plate values for both products. Next would be the cutter details, where we're cutting those pages out. And then the multiple quantity grid, again, if we had to add multiple quantities for this client. The main difference between a standard offset and a booklet is the ability to find flat size over stock size. The next type of printing I'd like to discuss is the digital side. This is generally for small format digital. So if I say I'm doing a digital letterhead rather than an offset letterhead, how many we're printing, the size, width, paper type, and paper. For digital, needs to know whether it's single or double-sided, whether it's printed in color, black and white, photographic, which is a high-res color, or one side color and one side black and white. We're receiving the file from, whether these are actual copies or you're receiving it from a digital file. Does it collate on the press, and is there a bleed? In these press details, since it is just a digital press, there isn't as much information. Your press, setup time, and production, as well as the sheets required. Next we go to the cutter details, if it needed to be cut. Now in this case, we're printing directly to the material, so there is no need to cut. So they'll all be 0. And the multiple quantity grid, so I can add multiple quantities. One note on this, on these print types. If we're looking at that print type itself, again, for any of these, the offset letterhead, this is what we were looking in that first drop-down list. If we look at one of these, you'll notice there's a tab for offset print types. These can also be adjusted in the Adjust Part Info screen. In this case, if it's a table-based pricing, it needs to know the one-time per plate color mat and artwork charge, as well as the table name for the price table that's currently in the system for this product. Is it an offset or digital product? Is it a booklet? The default finished width and height, and these can be left blank if it's going to vary. And your defaults in paper, press, cutter, as well as if it's an offset product, the imposition and ink type. If it was a digital product, what the print mode default would be. This concludes our video on the offset product. Please review our other videos for the options and bindery options. Thank you.